Hello, hello, and welcome to the Positive Principal. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Hold on. Wait, where are you? Where are you? There you
Heather,
are.
this is very
Oh,
fancy.
it is very fancy. We like fancy. We like fancy. All right. Oh, look.
Yeah, who is that? Wait, that's not Marie Osmond. She has brown hair.
Now, does anybody know?
Oh, Charlie's Angels. One of the
Charlie's
Charlie's
name?
Angels.
Cheryl Ladd. Cheryl Ladd.
Woo-hoo!
Woohoo! Oh, thank you for the high five award, Christine. Hello, Holly. Hello, Carrie. Thank you for the Stay Safe award. Hello, Julie. We got people in the house, Polly.
Awesome. I'm very excited. I'm also excited about what we're talking about today.
I am too. I am too. Good morning. Good morning. So it's noon in New York, and it's obviously sunny because half my face is going to be white. So, just so you know, I am white, but. Hello, Kim. Good to see you. Cheryl Ladd, thank you so much. Cynthia knew right away. Boom, Cynthia. Cheryl Ladd, my favorite angel. My favorite. And let's say a little prayer, a little thought for Tanya Roberts, who was the last angel, and she just made her transition a couple of weeks, last week. So bless her soul. Now she's going to become a real angel. So
She is. She's not becoming. She has already become.
She already has. So great to see you. We are doing a cool topic today, which we won't say yet, but what's going on with you, Orange Eater?
Okay, well, it has been a brilliant day so far. It rained a little bit last night, which is so good. I had a friend from Alaska that's in town right now, so we went for a little hike with Chloe up in the desert. And now I just got home like 10 minutes ago, and here I am eating one of my oranges off the orange tree.
Wow. Oh, last week you talked about your juicer.
I got it, but oh my God, it is not easy to put together. I literally have to have my kid put it together, not the boy. But the college didn't put it together for me, not the 14-year-old. Don't ask him to do it. I was juicing, and after he put it together, and everything was falling apart as I was doing. So,
Oh, Christine, I know there was a whole thing with Tanya Roberts because, let me say this really quickly, is that she got very sick. She passed out. She was taken to the hospital. Her boyfriend of many years called her publicist or her agent and was like, oh, no, I'm saying goodbye to her. And the publicist or agent took that like she died. But she didn't die. And he was like, she's dead, but she didn't die right then. And but she did end up dying a few days later. So, yeah, it wasn't COVID. It wasn't COVID, though. Bless her soul. So she had an infection in her heart. And she also, so we're sending lots of love to Tanya Roberts. So wait, well, I know that you got the juicer, and I was saying the juicers can be really intense. So is this an intense juicer?
Well, I think we'll be able to figure it out. Give me 1 or 2 times as somebody watching me put it together, and I can do it.
Okay.
It's just got like 10 parts. Well, yeah, it's got 10 parts, 6 parts, whatever. It's like you know me, I like the easy. I like the lazy easy, like just simple Simon. Give me a butter churn.
You're going to make butter now? You're vegan.
I am vegan. No, but when I was a kid, we made our own flipping butter with a butter churn. Like, you go, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not that old, right? Like if I was 100, you could say, yeah, that's not unbelievable. But no, I'm in my 50s, and we made our butter with a butter churn when I was a kid.
That's amazing. I bet you it tasted incredible, right?
No, it was crappy because my mom it was so disgusting because she did the sour milk thing. So it was like, oh God, it was horrifying.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm not a foodie, because
butter is one of my favorite things in the world, and good butter is like, there's nothing like good butter.
There's a really good vegan butter that we buy now. It's like Mochio's or something. It's so good. But that's why I'm probably not a foodie, because I wasn't raised in a home that had like, you know, good food. I'll just put it like that. Like we grew all of our own food, but it just wasn't, you know, wasn't like prepared right. And I'm not a good preparer of food. So. Well, let's talk about something more fun than Simple Simon. Oh my God, no, Simple Simon, give me a butter churn. No, I am not. Now that's fun.
No. Hello, Vegan Voyager. Good to see you. I don't know that. That is funny. That's funny.
That's my life. Simple Simon.
I don't think I'm official foodie, but I do love food a lot. And you'll love this, is that in my new Instant Pot, I made black beans last week, and they're like really good. And they're sometimes, you know, making beans can be like a whole day long thing. And the Instant Pot, it was like boom, boom, boom. And it's, I didn't realize, I looked at the, at this one recipe, I was just like, oh, there's a recipe. And I didn't realize that I didn't have to use a pound of beans. I could have used less. So I like made a pound of black beans. I'm like, Jesus, I'm black beaned out at this point. but they're really, they're
a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Hey, Donald. Donald makes fresh whipped cream for desserts. I love that too. I love that too. I love that. It's very easy, actually.
And you can make it with coconut milk. That's really good.
And it whips up the same?
You know, there's some like vegan restaurants that they have whipped coconut milk. It's so good. I don't know how they do it, but it's really good.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe vegan Voyager knows.
I'm all open to any alternatives. I'll eat an alternative anytime. No doubt. No doubt. So, all right. So, report on me before we get into our topic. Let's see. Oh, I was saying before that I had inspiration for a book title. So that's kind of fun. You know, when all of a sudden you hit something and you're like, oh, there it is. Boom. So that's exciting. I also got really excited today because I was on Clubhouse and I had a room called Room for Miracles, and we were talking about things. And I'm going to be announcing in the next 10 days a challenge for February. And now I know I had an idea. Now I know exactly what the challenge is going to be. So it's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be about miracles. So it's going to be
awesome. Yeah. We all need a miracle.
Can I get a miracle?
So Max, does that mean you're going to write a book?
Well, yeah, I've been rewriting my first book. But I've had this other idea for a long time. It's much more in depth. So, yeah. Well,
water. I choked my orange.
Don't tell Annis. But Polly's the writer. Polly's really a writer. So, yeah.
Kind of a writer. I mean, who knows what a writer is? But it's a commitment.
It's a commitment.
Are you committed to the book, Max? Say it here on live.
I am committed. I am committed to a book.
Awesome. So, and there it is. Cool.
There it is.
Awesome.
So what are we talking about today, Polly?
Well, there's so many juicy things to talk about. I mean, tomorrow, today's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday, so that'll be exciting with the transfer of power or leadership. I think that's kind of exciting. And what will what will take place, how will it feel to me? I think that's something to talk about. And then we are also talking about intuitive stuff, which I think is very cool because in the classes I've been teaching, it's become so apparent that, learning how to do intuitive readings isn't like just for those that want to have that be their new profession. It can use you. It can use you. You can use it in your everyday life all day long. It's very helpful.
No doubt. I agree. I mean, we all have an intuition, and we were talking about what to do. That's kind of, I mean, we've had some really intense conversations here this last few times, and we thought, lighten up a little bit about, kind of like what we do with cards and our intuition and using that and developing that in your life to be, you don't have to do what Polly and I do, but really strengthening how you use your intuition in your life. And I think that that's really important. It's really fun too. And we're going to talk about cards and all that stuff too. So what's the first thing, Polly, that you would tell people that maybe aren't interested in, doing this kind of work, but using their intuition in their life?
I think one of the first things is to figure out what you're strong, do you see things, feel things, hear things, or know things? Like, what's your strongest, how do you receive messages? Because we're all different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think figuring that out, and there's this, simple little exercise for that. But how about you, Max? What do you think is the most important?
Well, I think that actually what I tell people a lot too is that we're very familiar with blocking our intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So see how you're blocking something, like if you get a hit or a pull to be like, call that person, and then you don't call that person. That's the obvious answer. Why are you not calling that person? What's holding you back from calling the person?
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
So look at why you don't do something, and then you'll be like, oh, well, wait a second. This is my block. And then I'll be like, maybe I should let go of the block and call them anyway. It could be, a lot of times it's fear. It's fear, or it's busyness, or it's being in the future or being in the past. All those kinds of things do help you to be like, oh, that's why I'm not. Because if you're blocking yourself from calling somebody, you're blocking yourself from possible miracles, possible, connections with people, all that kind of stuff. So
that's great. A great concept. I also like the idea of and I know we've touched on this before on our podcast, but like what's the difference between like somebody who's intuitive or psychic and somebody that's sensitive, right? Because if you ask people, are you an intuitive? Raise your hand. Are you a sensitive person? Raise your hand. And so often the people that consider themselves to be sensitive, it hasn't always felt good to them, and they've shut things down. Whereas somebody that says that they're intuitive, they trust their gut feeling. The person that says that they're sensitive has had something happen that it doesn't feel so good, right? So they're kind of, they're holding back, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's really where they've kind of, we, for whatever reason, make it where the word sensitive is kind of like a, not a positive thing, right?
Of course. Because a lot of times, it's that sensitivity that is guiding you. And then we are obviously taught to be like, toughen up. Don't listen to that thing. And then on the other side, they're like, follow your gut, toughen up, follow your gut. Like, which one do you do? Which one do you do? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just think it's interesting. Like somebody brought to my attention the other day, I don't know who wrote the book, but it's something about, how to be a psychic or whatever it is. But it had like a bunch of information about, most people who consider themselves sensitive, this was their childhood. And I think it's so interesting to, I don't know if you can couch everything like that, right? Like, I think you can have, right? You have people with amazing abilities that didn't necessarily feel like an orphan as a child, right?
I've heard that quite often. People saying, the best psychics, intuitives had a really tough childhood, or they had a lot of trauma in their life. I can see that because I had a lot of trauma in my early life. And I can see that because it does make you like, it's like you're, you either go one way or the other when you have a lot of trauma in your early life. You either close down or you go, I got to open up. I got to figure out the world. I got to figure without just your five senses. You got to figure it out through feeling, through, and so I can see that, but I don't, there's some people I know that are really incredible intuitives, and they have had a silver spoon in their mouth the whole time. They have had nothing. Right.
I don't think that the trauma does not make you a sensitive or whatever. I mean, I think anybody, you can't get through this life without having some some challenges, right? I think any challenges that we experience make it so that we have more compassion and we can understand what people are going through, right? Like for me, when I work with people, it's quite handy to be able to be like, yeah, I understand how you feel, right? Because you've been there.
I agree. I agree. And so much of being intuitive in your life is being able to have compassion, real compassion.
Yeah.
Where you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, and that is, I would say that's probably the main criteria for living intuitively, is that you have to be able to get out of you and go into the situation or into someone else to see and feel and sense what they're feeling, what they're doing, all of that stuff. And so that, I mean, I think a lot of people are living intuitively just automatically.
Absolutely. And I actually think, like, for me, it's more, where it's an observation. Like, I don't necessarily want to feel how people, like, I get a hint of it, and then I'm at that space of where I'm observing how they are, right? So it's the space of observation. And the only reason I'm saying this is, because we, if we felt everything that everybody's going through and we work all day long, we'd be like a puddle at the end of the day. But what was I going to say? Oh, this is the important thing, is we, so Max, you have your personal beliefs, I have my personal beliefs. And if we can't do it from that place of observation, what happens? Our personal beliefs come into the reading, right? Like it, and there's always going to be a little bit of that anyhow, right? There just is, because but hopefully it's just a fraction. But it's really interesting because I'm sure people, and I know people who, when they do readings, it's like, oh my God, that's so much based on your lifestyle or your life or what you believe, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, to really be aware of.
And that's a good question for the people that are watching right now. Can you sense within yourself where your personal beliefs are keeping you from sensing the truth of what's going on? You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like, one of the exercises I do. Hello, Pam. Hello, Pammy. Good to see you. Great. Is that taking this idea of you are you and putting yourself over here next to you or on the other side of the room. That's a typical exercise to do. But look, if you took your essence and you put it over there, first of all, it can be really scary for people, but you can kind of take your essence and put it on the other side of the room and then go, what am I getting right now? What am I feeling? What am I seeing? Without your personal biases. Like you said, Polly, you can't ever completely get rid of it.
Right.
But you can, most people are only seeing through the lens of their personal opinions and their personal stuff. To just take that away. It's like, you're a vegan. You don't go, okay, everyone has to be a vegan. You don't do that. You don't do that. For you, it works, right? I am a Charlie's Angels fan. Everyone doesn't have to be a Charlie's Angels fan. You put that to the side, and that is a skill. That's a skill, for sure.
It is a skill. And it's interesting because, some of the things that have really come up, some of the stuff that I've been teaching in my classes really come up is people, oh my God, the way they're using it in their life. Like one person that's she manages a group of people for a prominent business. And she actually now tunes into, like, if she gets like some message from one of them, she now tunes into that person and is like, okay, well, why did they send this to me? What was the reason, what's going on with them? And so it's so good because it brings the pause, right? They're not reacting, they're pausing, and they're feeling, okay, what's going on? I mean, she's going to be an amazing manager because she's pausing and tuning in, right?
That's so true. So true. Because we tend to, and I was a program manager director for a long time. And, in some ways, it's like, don't listen to what people say, because what they say is something. Where they're coming from what they say is far more important. The intention of why they're saying it. They could be saying, I love you, And then if you could sense it, behind all that stuff is they really need a raise. And then you go right to it and go, I get it. I know you love me. And you can feel it. You can get it. That's why they're saying that. Go ahead.
Well, and the other thing is like, you know, to kind of go in and see like, okay, how do people think? Right? Because it's the same, it's on the same principle of like, you know, how we share readings is the way we view the world a little bit. So how do people think? How are you sharing messages with them? So not just like clients, if you have a client base, but how are you sharing messages with your family? I mean, you have to look at the way, how do they process information? How do they move through the world? What do they think? If you change your vocabulary to make, you know, to fit the way they think, I mean, what a world of difference.
Totally. I was just talking to one of my students the other day who's her and her partner. We were talking, I was like, you two have different love languages.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you know that, anyone can just Google love languages, and there are tests to figure out what your love language is. So one partner needs love expressed this way, and one needs it expressed this way, and they're not doing the expression that they need. They're doing something else, and that's why there's discord in the relationship. And she called me like, you know, last week, it was a couple weeks ago, we said this. She goes, oh my God, we did it, and it's totally changed everything. I go, well, yeah, because some people need the flowers to express love, and some people need a wink. You know what I mean? And some people need it to, everyone's different. So I think that that's a really important thing of living intuitively. And then you start to get a sense when you get people, you're like, oh, this is an explainer person.
Yeah.
Things
explain. Okay, so here's a question for you, Max. So, you know, like, you and I both do reading. I mean, there's a million people that do reading, a billion people that do readings of various types, right? And so, you know, there's astrology, there's psychic, there's mediumship, there's all the, you know, everything under the sun. So where do you think all that information is held? Like, for example, when I do, a reading, say I was doing a reading for Pam and pulled whatever stuff up. Where do you think all that information is held?
Are you starting to touch on, I'm gonna present what Pam just wrote here in a second. Are you saying like, you're talking about the Akashic record situation or the matrix?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is how I see it. I think the Akashic records and the matrix, not the matrix like the movie, but the matrix of all that is. I think it is everywhere and nowhere. I don't think it's in one specific place, literally in space and time. I think that it lives in us, and it lives in all that is. And the more that you get used to it, the more you can go, oh, it is. And sometimes, you know this, Polly, is that sometimes when you're working with someone, you're like, it's in their left shoulder. Like you start to feel it's in their body somewhere, whatever. And the answer is already inside them. Does it make sense? So I mean, I guess how I would answer it, like, I don't think it's in one place, but I think we all have access to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's almost what connects us, right? It is the connecting force. And I think that the Akashic record, the name is kind of funny because I don't know that it's a record per se, but Akashic field feels better to me because I do feel like it's all around us and we just have different ways of accessing it. But I do think it's really interesting because, I mean, there's, again, a lot of people that say that they read Akashic records. Well, how is that different than the readings that you and I do where we pull, I mean, right? I mean,
you just know.
Yeah, exactly. So
you find it somewhere. I want to take a moment and put what Pam said on the screen so everyone can read it really quickly, because I think it's really a great comment, Pam. Let's just see if it comes up. Let's see. Where is it, Pam? There. Pam says, we need to be more open-minded and have more open-ended conversations. A lot of conversations, so emotional drive as the focus. What do you think about that? Polly?
Yeah, I mean, I think open-minded conversations are good, but I also like the pause, right? Like I think it's important to pause and really go beyond the conversation. So really tune into how to be thoughtful and see, okay, well, where is this person coming from? Because you can't always get that. Not everybody is a good communicator with words, right? And so sometimes it's important to go beyond the words.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And I totally respect what Pam is saying too. I think that it's kind of both. You have to, like, when you go into a conversation or you go into anything, you have to put, like what I was saying, you have to put your agenda over here.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, and what's really wonderful right now as I've been listening to, you know, all the stuff that's been going on because of the, you know, the insurrection in the Capitol and all that stuff, is that there's all these experts coming out, the cult experts and terrorist experts and everything. And fascinatingly enough, what do they say? You have to love them and you have to listen. And the only way to transcend division is to, it's so obvious, is to listen, to bring them in, to really listen without an agenda, without trying to get people to get on your side, because here's the deal. It never works. It never works. And so if you're really intuitive, you really go, oh, if I start talking to this person that has a polar opposite opinion of me, I'm not going to go, well, you're wrong.
Right.
It doesn't work. You have to start from listening to the intention underneath it all, for sure.
And to the feeling, right?
And the feeling of, obviously we have to bring this into it, you know, right now, because worldwide human race, because of COVID, because of so many different things, people are really, really feeling isolated and angry and frustrated. And so you got to come from, like, people are pissed off right now. So, you know, everything is love or a call for love. So it's a call for love. So you're not going to answer a call for love with rage. Well, you could.
Right.
You could. Right?
Well, and a lot of the people that, well, I don't really know this, I'm guessing. I mean, it's shared this way, but a lot of the people that have gotten involved with, you know, some of the like the QAnon or whatever, the conspiracy stuff, you know, they were searching for somebody that would listen. They were searching for an identity, right? And so that could have been to some degree prevented by just, if somewhere along the road somebody had listened and to them, right, if that they had been heard, or that there had been some form of connection made, but instead they keep searching until they make a connection with something that's not quite as healthy.
Right. You know, in my spirit school right now, we're doing the Jungian archetypes. And it's really fascinating because if you really study archetypes, especially the top 12, the everyman archetype is the part of us that needs to be heard, the part of us that needs community, the part of us that needs to feel belonging, right? And so it's that part that spurns, and also the outlaw, but that part. So if you can really hear, oh, this is just someone that needs to be heard, they need to feel a part of a community, make them feel part of a community, just like we all have what we need too, you know. Important.
So interesting, because I think that 2021 is going to be really big for people being able to find their tribe or their group or whatever. But in the same sense, I wonder if that means that and it doesn't mean like it's going to be a big group. It just might be finding one or two other people that they can hang out with. But so interesting. I wonder if it's going to make it where, you know, some of the people finding their tribe is not necessarily as healthy for them. But I do see that it is going to be it's easier for us to find somebody to connect with in 2021.
Also, yeah, Donald says validation. People need validation for sure.
Yeah.
And Michelle, is great stuff. It is great stuff. And this is the conversation that we need to be having right now. And I think that you're right. 2021 is, like we've said before, it's like crackling with possibility. It's just there's the energy of what is possible right now is huge. It's just huge. Yeah. And we're all, human race is, we're ready for another way. Everyone's
Yeah.
ready for another way, and everyone's expressing it in all different ways. But that you can sense it with, kids are ready, we're ready, older people are ready, everyone's ready. Like something ain't working. We're all kind of like vulnerable and raw to be like, okay, you know what? Something got to change. And that's a great place for us to be.
It is a great place for us to be. And so I think because we know that there's so much potential, it's an opportunity for each of us to remember, okay, well, what would we like that to be potential? What is it? An essential oil.
Oh, you have essential oil somewhere?
I can't imagine that she saw that, but I have like also.
What's in your hand right now?
Oh, this is a lighter. I just lit my candle.
Nah.
No, I have like all sorts of stuff here.
I like it.
Yeah, I think I think the big thing is like, pay attention to what you are surrounding yourself, or like what you think you're surrounding yourself. Do you want to see that there's positive possibilities, or right versus, another 4 years of crap, whatever. I mean, just choose the possibility that you have, some good possibilities.
I love that. And that is living intuitively. Living intuitively is seeing beyond the surface of things. I thought about that this morning when they were showing, at the for the inauguration, since people can't come. I don't know if you saw this, Polly. Did you see that there's 200,000 flags?
Wow.
They put 200,000 flags on the mall in front of the Capitol.
How pretty.
Which is just beautiful. And I just thought to myself, well, that's a really awesome way to do it. And I thought it's a symbol, but it's more than a symbol, because it shows that we can be, this is just my interpretation, it shows that we can be somewhere without being there, which is very intuitive. Yeah. You can be there, it's just so beautiful. I love that.
I love that. I love that you said that, because it's holding that connection, right? Because that's what you're doing. If you're reading somebody, if you read somebody in China or whatever, you're connecting to them. You're connecting to the energy of that ceremony. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Michelle says something here that, and let's see if I can get it up on and see what you have to say about that.
I agree with you.
Okay, go ahead. Read it there, Polly.
Part of it's cut off. Please, I hope that people stop using the word tribe. I'm sorry, I'm just not sure that that's a good word for non-natives to use when actual tribal people, are ignored and targeted. I totally agree with you. And it's so funny because it's something like I did not use there's a few words I'm like authentic is another one. I cannot stand that word.
We're the same. You and I are the same. We're like,
and it's, I totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like in vogue to say, find your tribe, find your tribe.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Absolutely.
Right. But if you go back to like the archetypes that all of us have, is that there is a part of us that feels like we need to find people that agree with us.
Yeah. And we do. And we need to we do need to have a connection, right? When we're little, we have connections with our parents, but we do need to have connection. We do need to have community.
Right.
And that doesn't have to be huge. It can be a small little tiny group, but it's still communal.
And words matter. And I think that it's really great, Michelle, by just stating that right there. And I love you. I think you said, I'm not trying to be controversial or anything, just wince at the language. I get that. But that's absolutely. What you just did was follow your intuition. Your intuition is that just feels to you. That's following your intuition. Mm-hmm. Right. Because I feel like that authentic thing, I feel the same way. This is what I always say. When you try to be authentic, it's completely inauthentic because you're trying to be authentic. This doesn't even make sense.
I'm just like, whatever. I can say I'm lazy. I can say whatever. I'm just like, just be yourself. Just be. Just
live and let live.
Yeah.
Donald,
So
I get it. Donald says, I disagree. Humans are tribal. People want to feel like they belong. We're not disagreeing with that at all. At all, Donald. I think that you're right. There is a part of us that needs to feel like we belong completely, completely. It's just the word tribal sometimes
yeah.
carries other things. So
Which goes back to the original thing of being able to feel what somebody means versus, right? Because so there are words that are triggers, right? And so, and even that word trigger is a trigger. But, right? You know, there's a lot of people that don't want to hear that word. And
yeah,
for valid reasons, right? And so it goes back to the feelings, right? You have to really feel what that person is saying.
yeah. You have to get it beyond just the surface.
Beyond the words. And even that's like one of the things, like when, you know, you teach people how to do readings, you can't just do like the first thing, like, I see the blue bunnies around you. You can't, you got to like, why is the blue bunny, right? Like everything, you have to go deeper. Although I do say this, if you're like walking down the street and the orange cat runs in front of you, you don't have to be like, you know, what's the symbol for that? But I do think when we're communicating with other people, we do need to go, you know, is there something that I'm missing here?
Always.
Right.
I agree. That's good. I think that, you know, if everyone that's listening and watching today and even watching the replay, just start asking yourself in your life, am I operating from my preconceived idea, or am I really getting something? You know, what we're talking about, you know, Polly, we're talking about if you're not used to it, it does take practice. It's a muscle that you start to develop after a while to be like, oh, that was my prejudice that I've just projected. Okay, wait, what if I didn't project that prejudice? And if I just felt or sensed or saw whatever it is and saw it more clearly, I might have a whole different story going on there for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can I share with you some of the stuff I've seen for tomorrow?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I actually have some cards. I wanted to pull some cards for tomorrow too.
Okay,
So you tell us what you're saying. I'll pull cards. Go.
And then you can tell me like how it feels to you when I'm sharing. So one thing that I'm seeing, and again, a lot of the stuff doesn't necessarily make sense to me, but it's almost like these people are in divots, like, but they're round. So like these divots, so you can think of like, it's almost like these round sinkholes, and there's not very many people in the round sinkholes. So like maybe 2 or 3. And so I'm wondering if we're going to have like these areas, for some reason, they're just a lower elevation. So I'm not sure if something happens and they're stuck at the lower elevation, but I see these people in these divots, and it's something to do with tomorrow, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm also seeing, and believe me, it doesn't make that much sense, so we're just going to have to see. But it does feel, because you're talking about the flags, Max, it does feel near those flags. So there's something like, you know, and another thing, you know, and for some reason, New York is like, well, you're in New York, but New York is definitely, stuff is, you know, I'm picking up New York. But another thing is there's like like some, it's not a ship, but there's something out in the water, like, you know, something that, some boat type thing that's out in the water. That's another thing. And I'm wondering if that's the piece that's in New York, because there's no water by DC, is there?
The Potomac.
Oh, okay, because there's going to be something that's off the coast, like it's not on the coast, but there's something to do with that. Like, I'm not sure why it's there. I'm not sure if it's like a protective measure, but there's something interesting. Like the reason they're showing it to me is there's something to watch about that. There's some aspect to watch about that. But I'm wondering if that's not New York. We'll have to see.
I don't know. The first thing I got when you were saying small, like divot, small, the first thing I got was that it felt like there was that it's the beginning of smaller groups or more intimate conversation and connection happening.
We're definitely going to have that. Definitely, like that's coming. But I'm talking. There's something to do with tomorrow, with the inauguration. There's something with that. It's there. When I say a small divot, it's something to the ground. But we are going to have smaller grooves.
Divot when you all the times I go golf, and then the thing comes out, and there's a little hole there.
This is like, okay, you'll laugh. This is like, imagine, this is so funny, such a way to describe it. Imagine if a round spaceship came and landed on the lawn, and it would leave like a divot.
Yeah.
So it's big enough, right? So it's like a sizable divot. It's not like the divot from the golf club. So we will have to see where the sizable divots. I know, it's very interesting.
I just thought of something really horrific. There's some disaster movies somewhere where I think it's the Capitol that gets blown up and it leaves a big crater in the ground.
Well, I'm just telling you, there's a few of these divots. So just wait to see.
I should have said that, but that's what I got immediately.
Yeah, so there's a few of these divots, and it's so bizarre. It just leaves like 2 or 3 people standing there in the middle of the divot.
Wow.
So we just have to see and what it is.
I don't know. I like Pam's comment. Social distance dance party to celebrate. Yeehaw! I love it. Okay. All right. Thank you. So that's your thing for tomorrow. I'm going to pull a card for tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's just tune in here in a second. Let's see. I'm excited about tomorrow, actually. All right. Crazily enough, I woke up this morning, and you know how you get those, what do they call it, an earworm, where you hear a song over and over and over? They call it an earworm. So you hear a song over and over. And I woke up this morning, and I didn't even think about this before. I must have been in my subconscious, but I started hearing the song from, you might not know this, song from Les Miserables, One Day More. One day more. Da, 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 da. It's a French Revolution song. I was like, oh, wow, I love that song. One day, it's very powerful. It's like French Revolution, one day more. And then I turned on the radio, and they're like, one day more of Trump. I was like, oh, God, crazy.
That's funny.
I know. Okay, I'm going to pull a card here for see what Spirit has to tell us about tomorrow and what we need to know. Okay. All right. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Look at this. Wait till it focuses in. Shoot. Okay. Focusing in. Darn. Come on.
Oh, new life. How sweet is that? That's awesome.
New life card. That's so awesome. Obviously, look at that. She's in ecstasy. We're in ecstasy. So this is, obviously this is showing like big relief, that woman, whatever, new life. It's pretty obvious. But listen, out of all these cards, I picked a new life. So it's definitely there's definitely a marker happening, a vibrational marker happening for tomorrow. This new life isn't necessarily great for some people. It might be great for other people, but it's definitely a corner that's being turned for sure for something new that's coming. It's really, I feel really excited about it, actually. And that's beyond my personal political leanings. I feel like, like we said before, that there is a vibrational field happening of crackling possibility that's going to happen. So I love that one came up. New life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited. Very look, I believe that feel like I'm pretty excited about life in general because we can, does that mean that every day I'm like, whistling down the street? No. But I believe that we have the possibility. I have the possibility to whistle down the street every day, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, yeah, I'm super excited. Right now, we really do have so many wonderful choices. Absolutely.
No doubt. Michelle, that's beautiful. Did you read that there, Polly?
Mm-hmm. Giving birth can be so traumatic, but that moment after the birth, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I love it. Well, that's a great conversation about intuitive living. I think it's important that we'll come back to this. This is a theme of our work anyway. But you know, if you're watching right now and you've participated, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And think about how you're going to live a little bit more intuitively today. We're going to feel. How are you going to? What actions are you going to take? That and what's blocking you from taking an intuitive action in your life? I love it.
And look at what Donald said. How sweet! I like Polly's smile. How sweet is that?
I do too.
Very
great. All right. So, Polly, tell them where they can find you.
Okay, so you can find me. My website is pollywyram.com. You can find me on my blogs on Your Tango and soulspring.org. And my Instagram is Polly_Wyram.
Awesome. And make sure we're on my channel right now, but follow her on her channel. You can click her name here. Definitely follow her. She's, how many have you done? A couple of
I do like one a week.
Okay, great. Awesome. So she does energy readings of the week and stuff, and you get to see more of her smile. So follow her there. You can find me at attractpositiveresults.com, and you can also find me on Instagram at Attract Positive Results. We also have a show, and I have to get more back into it, posting on our show Instagram, which is The Positive Principle Show on Instagram, and on Facebook, which we're on Facebook right now. So if you're watching on Facebook, I know that's difficult to communicate, but follow us there. We'll give you updates about our shows, what's going on. And Polly made a little mistake the other day when she said, what are we going to do for our next meeting or something like that? And I was like, because we need to do another thing together besides the show. So
yeah, we do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I was just talking to somebody last night. We do need to do an event together, but then, should we do it where we invite other, like one or two other medium type people and make it like a weekend or like a, Saturday where people buy tickets? So yeah, if anybody has any ideas, like,
yeah.
So it's like a retreat, but you get to experience it from your home.
I love that. That'll be great. And the other thing before we go is that we would love, in the future, we got more people in here, is to bring people up on, because HAPS is the greatest thing, because you can come up with us, you can ask us questions, we can give you mini readings and stuff like that, and bring you really into the conversation. So it's not just us. If you're on HAPS, you can watch other people. They're bringing lots of people on to have a real discussion, which I would love. But hopefully there are other people that are comfortable enough coming on. So it'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your word for the day for everybody, Polly?
Oh, you know what? You know what word came to me, which is so funny, is compromise. So I wonder if that's compromise because, like, compromise in terms of taking a step back and listening and finding the middle ground, maybe. I don't know.
Yep.
Sure.
Could be. And compromise is not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's letting go of your own agenda for a second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So compromise is a good thing when you want to live intuitively, because you got to get off your own agenda. So that's a good thing. And my word for the day is flow.
Oh, that's a good one.
Flow. Yeah. So. All right. Well, Polly, enjoy your day in, I was going to say Australia, in Arizona.
Yes, I'm going to pretend I'm in Australia today. I don't know where I'm at isn't bad, but it's, I can do that.
That's right. You're right. Listening is a good topic. We've covered that. We'll cover it again. So everybody, have an incredible day. I will see you. Oh, tomorrow is, listen, I'll just say this really quickly. Depending on what happens with the inauguration stuff tomorrow, because I've kind of like cleared my calendar, is that I'm probably going to be watching the inauguration when I'm supposed to be on here tomorrow. So we're probably going to pause that, but I will see you really soon, for sure. Okay. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Au revoir. Bye, everybody. Thank you.